Welcome back to the box pod. That was clearly a double movement.
No. According to the laws, that's not a double
Are
movement.
you trying to put me off here?
That's not. No, Wayne Barnes says it's not true.
Anyway, so this week on the episode on box pod, what we're gonna do that was clearly double movement.
Hey, I'm moving. You gotta work on your tackle technique, brother. And as he says, learn your tackle technique.
Please send it to the TMO.
Age 3212. Shauna, the box pod is starting.
This is the box pod.
Alright, so brilliant refereeing aside, what happened on Saturday, bro?
On Saturday,
Yeah.
I think we saw a vast improvement, in my opinion, in the box team, and I feel like a lot of the players looked like they were finally enjoying themselves on the field.
Yeah.
And actually trying to play the game plan that they are more comfortable with.
Yeah. I mean, you saw how much space Philly had, or freedom of movement Philly had.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it took us Ireland to realize that Philly needs to slot in as that second receiver. But the way we played on Saturday, it was really exciting to see because we haven't seen running rugby from the Springboks in so long.
Yeah.
And there was cross kicks, but I mean that's part of running rugby nowadays.
Yeah.
So and yes, I reckon the French only beat us because of just their consistency in terms of every time they got into our half, they always converted points.
Yeah.
A lot of the time teams forget to do that. They'll go for a maul, lose it, and then But whereas the French, it's constant. They're tallying up the points.
Yeah.
The scoreboard's always moving when you play the French.
Yeah.
That's something we could learn from them, I reckon.
Yeah. I think it's just also they have the best goal kickers in the world, basically, with Ntamak and Ramos that kicked on Saturday.
Jalibert as well.
Yeah, they don't miss, so it's consistently ticking over. But also from the French side, I don't know if you've ever watched a game between two top 14 sides, like Toulouse or La Rochelle when they play each other. It's always a kick fest, bro. It's always such ugly rugby. And it's the same thing with the national team. They kick so much. They kick more than us this year. They've kicked more than us. But we always get tuned for kicking, whereas just because they end up with 3 or 4 tries at the end of the day because they finish off their chances, people look past it. But also the box tend to be stereotyped and tuned for the way they play. So
but I mean, I don't think the French side is critically analysed as much as the Springbok side. If they lose a game every now and then from a bad kicking performance, they'll be like, but it normally works. With us, we lose one game after beating British Irish Lions, winning the World Cup, and we play a kicking game and they're we should change. That's just how the Springboks get criticised.
Yeah, definitely. No, the overseas that's the best thing about the Northern Hemisphere fan base currently is whenever they play the box, they're like, this is the most boring team to watch. Well, it's I also find it boring when I play against a team my team's not breaking down the defense at all. You know what I mean? It's because our defense, it's not actually our attacking. But what I do agree though that the way we played was wrong. There was too much kicking involved.
It's just weeks before.
Yeah, weeks before. On Saturday I think we finally. This is my theory, but you've obviously got a different theory. My theory is that Ninobe was holding back, the box were holding back because they didn't want to show this before 2023. But because of the pressure on Ninobe, they were like, okay, we're going for it now.
Yeah.
And the players, and they ended up playing a much more attacking game.
Yeah, I can see how that's kind of fitted in, and you can kind of assume that this has been part of the plan the whole time, but the injuries to Pollard and Ame have not been part of the plan. So I can't agree with you on that.
So you don't think we were ever gonna start switching to a more attacking base game plan?
Not as much as that, because that is to me to go from Ireland where we kicked a lot. Yes, we ran, but you could see they were starting to transition. Yeah, you could see it over the past few games, but there was still that big kicking game, and against Ireland we lost kicking game.
Yeah.
And we realised against these Northern Hemisphere sides, putting a high ball up, you actually got a 40% chance of winning the high ball.
Yeah.
But I reckon it's more of a reaction from Ninobe going, okay, we've got Munster, who's one of the best running 10s in the world right now, because playing for the Stormers, he was instrumental in winning them the URC. He's got two of the most agile wingers in the world in Cheslin and Arnser. That's why my PB got benched this weekend. Then you got Telendu, who's that will always get over the game line. And then the other thing is Jesse, he's more of a defensive player, but you can get a crash ball going. Yeah. But once Philly links to the back line up, right? So now this weekend, what they did was they obviously moved to the running game. But it's definitely, in my opinion, a response to how Northern Hemisphere play. Because on Saturday, putting Villiers, you don't ever see Villiers receiving first ball off a kick and then running it up. That's what we saw on Saturday. Yeah. We didn't once try to get into a kicking battle, and it worked. Yeah. But I'm not saying the game plan isn't working or it's not going to work at World Cup, but it's more of a panic response going, okay, we can't actually beat sides the way we've been playing, especially the French and the Irish.
Yeah, I think they listened to the fans that were they looked at the stats and they were like, listen, our game plan can make us win against any side, but it can make us lose against any side as well. Yeah. Whereas the All Blacks, they put sides away. They aren't much better. They aren't better than us, but they'll beat Wales and put 50 on them because they have that attacking mentality. Whereas our players have been so restricted. I mean, I don't agree that last week we saw any change. Last week we saw very, very much just a kicking game against Ireland where our backline of Willemse refused to give a ball behind our forwards. Yeah. He kept choosing the first guy. Yes. There was never a pass with any risk taken. Whereas this Saturday, you can tell the players are told, listen, express yourselves. They're finally realizing that rugby involves risks. You can't play rugby without risk, and that's what we were trying to do. And then that's also when the ref is always going to be involved in your matches, because we're just trying to play to the ref every time. We need the scrum penalty, we need the maul penalty. If our maul's not working because people are coming around in the Irish game and because in the Irish game our maul didn't work, but if you notice their players kept changing the bind. And every time we went forward, they wouldn't break off like you're supposed to. They would just stay there and come around and start binding on our ball carrier. So if that happens in a match, we had zero variation. Whereas now it's we take the ref out of the game a bit when you actually play rugby. When you pass the ball, the ref is taken out of it.
Do you think we can still play? Okay, yeah. So in 2019 World Cup, we literally had two different game plans going into the World Cup, right? Of which we saw the second game plan in the World Cup final, where we actually thrashed England 32-12. So do you think maybe, I can see where your point becomes a little bit more founded in, they're trying to repeat 2019 where they've got two game plans going into the World Cup, because they can easily just draw back on the old game plan. Yeah. Whether it's coming up against a team like Scotland, where they've got good defense in terms of aerial battles. But if you beat them out wide, it's over. Yeah, so they can revert to that. Yeah. And then a team against Ireland or New Zealand where they're much more dangerous out wide, we could still go back to that kicking game and beat them the grind out to win off a few points kind of a thing.
I think we should stick to one game plan actually. I think we should, because in the World Cup, our general game plan involved a lot more running than we saw the last year or two. It was just in that semi-final against Wales where we completely decided to kick the whole time. True. And then that became our main game plan. But I think that was just a result of we didn't play at all in 2020, and the coaches were we're going to give you the most simple game plan possible, and you're going to keep doing this. But it was very much a lottery, a lot of the games we played. Yeah. Whereas now we're actually utilising our insane backs. Saturday we could have won by a decent amount if we had not made the same, dropping the ball off the kickoff. If WAYNE Barnes hadn't penalised Faf in the beginning, it was completely onside when he tackled the punt. That should have been our scrum. Boom, they get 3 points.
The ref's always such an unpredictable factor in the game, especially for the Springboks. And the thing is, overseas countries and pundits are always irritated by South Africans when we complain about the ref. But the thing is that it affects us the most. And whenever we go overseas, we never see a 50-50 call go our way. Yeah, never. Literally never. Yeah. It's only the deliberate, what's the word for this, man? Like the
clear cut
decisions that will go our way. Like
Yeah.
on Saturday, like when, for instance, Kirky Arnster tackled Makalu and he fell to the ground and kept going, he didn't release the ball. Like, that was clearly like a penalty. And then even like the French, the whole crowd was convinced that it wasn't.
Yeah.
Like it's only those 50-50 decisions which aren't really, that will go our way.
Yeah.
But then comes scrum time when Guy Porter is clearly hinging, losing his bind, but the refs on the other side watching Francois Hadber. Like, you know, all this.
Or we win a hit, the ref resets. The next time that same prop that was getting dominated previously goes down straight away. He gives a penalty to Ireland. Like, that made no sense whatsoever, and that's a 50-50 call.
Yeah. And because these things are, we rely on these calls, these penalties so much in our game that we are going to rip into a ref whenever he gets it wrong.
No, it's exactly because we rely on the ref too much.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying.
That's why your game plan, your idea of what Springboks should do works better.
Because it takes the ref out of it more. That's why on Saturday we weren't 30 or 20 points down with the red card. Because if we just played that mauling game. France actually tried to defend the maul legally, which was great for once to see that a team actually like not just coming around and changing their bind. So our maul could actually work for once. But against Ireland, they were just allowed to take out our supporters. They were allowed to come around every single time we start going forward. Their guys just come around and bring our guys down. Then our game plan falls apart. But if we're varying it, giving it to the back line. Getting it to very quick cross kick, like his cross kicks are pinpoint.
Both would literally, if both went to hand, like
it's try time.
At least one was going to be a try. I mean, my Pimpi's one. I mean, he had who was their fullback on Saturday? Ramos. Yeah, he just had Ramos to beat, and like Ramos isn't quick as though.
No, and also the
Colby as well. I mean, that's like a guarantee.
Yeah, and the one with Krill as well that he caught, and he wanted to kick, and it was literally just Kirky right next to him, and there was no one in behind. So. It would have been try time as well if he kicked it infield.
It would be such a different. It would have been such a different game.
Yeah.
But just talking about it, like game plan aside, how the boys reacted to that red card on the field. I mean,
that was brilliant.
Yeah, Peter Steff was distraught. I was nearly in tears.
That was so unfortunate for him.
Yeah, and it was definitely the right call. You can't really argue head collisions. Yeah, like the fact that it wasn't on purpose isn't a mitigating factor anymore.
I think so. I think there was some mitigation that he got pushed. So it's similar to a guy when you're going up in the air and someone bumps you with your shoulder and that guy bumps into the guy and he gets taken out. That would be mitigating and the guy would only get a yellow or something. And also...
it was Lindy, I think, that hit him on the side.
Yeah,
changed his course straight to his head.
And also Kwacha pushed him from behind. So that's why he was like so off balance. Yeah. But the other thing was Dante was literally over here. But everything gets looked at in slow motion and from like angles where it looks way worse. But the one where it's literally Dante was like sitting up and Peter Stead's head was already down like this. Yeah. And Dante came literally into that, about to complain to the ref about something, sitting on our side of the ruck. And then Peter Stead's head hit him. But it was very dangerous and all. But the extent to which a player gets hurt shouldn't be brought into account, because then
just look at Nick White.
Yeah,
I mean, he was concussed.
Yeah, exactly. But Fife deserved to get like a 6-week ban for that.
Well, he shouldn't have been allowed to play against the French. Anyway, but the boys reacted really well. I thought, like, to going into halftime, I think we were 16-10 down, and we had the red card for 30 minutes already. So like the reaction was awesome to see. Yeah. The pride is still there as long as Rossi's there. The pride will always be there.
Yeah. Also, in the beginning of the year, that oak was like, the French pack would monster our pack. They would monster the Springboks. I'm telling you.
What is that oak's name? Do you remember? Clearly he's
some failure as a pundit. Not like us. No.
Some 23 subscribers disagree with that.
Why do you keep bringing that up?
No, but anyways, so basically he said that, and as soon as he said that, I was like, thanks for saying that, because whenever there's a pack that's supposedly better than us, like the English pack or whatever in 2019, boom, we actually show up. And that's why the South African fans always have so much confidence, because we know it doesn't matter who we come up against, our team will show up and they will just, through like sheer aggression, be able to beat us out. And with a 7-man maul, we were absolutely winning penalties, driving them like stuck in.
Every tackle as well, we were hitting them back. Like, and it wasn't just in the forwards as well. I mean, Damien Delendi, I don't know if you remember, he absolutely, like, ran straight over Gail Fikuru. Like he was not even there.
Yeah. I want someone to make a Damien Diadendi tribute for this year, bro.
Maybe we should, bro.
We should.
Yes, because he's been insane.
Every match, bro, just so dominant, running over Oaks.
I feel so bad for Estes in there because he doesn't even have a chance.
Yeah.
Because with Diadendi there, he doesn't have a chance.
Diadendi needs to get rested though.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yes. Yeah.
Like
this weekend coming though,
that's
against Italy.
Yeah, that's why our 5-3 split is more important than a 6-2. You can bring a 6-2 every now and then, like World Cup final. You decide, okay, 6-2. This is why we're going. But in a build up to a next season where there's a World Cup, you need to have a 5-3 so you can blood backline players as well. Because what happens when Diadendi's out now? Yeah. Then you have Esterhuizen who's going to have to be thrown in the deep end, or you throw Willemsen now back to 12.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, no, but yeah, like we were saying, really, that heart is still there, and Kolisi led it on Saturday with a really good performance. That I noticed on Saturday was the trainability of the Springboks. Like, because we've been stuck on that game plan for so long of kicking, and we've drilled it into the players' heads now.
Yeah.
So now we've moved over to this running rugby that we have had before, but it's taken, you can just take a lot of mental capacity from the boys, and we saw it on Saturday. Like other areas of our play was like seriously affected. I reckon like the exits of kickoffs were like, compared to the French, we couldn't get out our own half.
Yeah.
You can arguably say like Faf's kicking off the ruck, it needs to improve. Yes.
Yeah.
But like it was just panic stations, bro, I thought. And like Kwacha couldn't even secure a ball of kickoff properly.
Yeah.
And when the first kickoff goes like that, dude, then like immediately it's just nervousness the rest of the game.
Yeah.
So stuff like the exits, we've completely forgotten. Like I reckon we didn't even train it this week because we've been focusing on the running game. Then maul defense as well. Like the French scored a maul try against us where we looked where Dion Free got that yellow card at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Like we looked lost on maul defense, and that's what we pride ourselves on a lot of the time with these set pieces. So it's going to take a few more games to really 100% sink everyone in.
Yeah.
Like I remember in the Rassi documentary last night, you were saying how it took them so long to sink 100% of all the players.
Yeah.
Or just everyone into the same game plan, because sometimes this week this area of the play would be amazing. Then this next week it was cuck, and then this one was average, and then that one, it was like jumping back and forth. Different areas we did better, and like now it was just like that. But the thing is, the reason why I'm irritated so much is because these are basic things. Like you should expect Faf de Klerk, 50 plus tests. He's like one of the best rated scrum halves in the world. Surely he can clear a ball off a 22 and not skiff it. And you see on the exact opposite end, DuPont. That oak like gets to the halfway line at least every single time of our kickoff.
Yeah.
And if we just did that, like John Smith was saying, our exits were shocking, and if you had to put it down to one reason why we lost the game, it would be the exits.
Yeah.
Like this. Yeah. But
I think
frustrating.
No, it's true. But yeah, I think that was definitely the guys were focusing more on the running part of it this weekend, and that definitely also. That helped our mauls, so our attacking mauls, it helped because it made France think twice. They didn't just know, we're going to set mauls straight away. They were like, okay, Flip, what are they going to do? Are they going to pass to the back line or what? So that helped on the attacking side, but then on the defensive side, like our Oaks weren't as focused, I think. I think we were more focused on attack this weekend. So that's why our maul defense wasn't as great. And then with I don't know if it was... the system that was a mistake. I think it was just individual errors with our exiting. So there was just Faf that had a shocking kick or two.
Munster contributed as well.
Yeah, and then obviously Kwacha that dropped the ball. But like it was quite wet as well on Saturday. That's why in the beginning we saw a few knock-ons. But what made it like really, what was a very good sign for us, it took about 20 minutes or something, or 27 minutes or something in the second half before the first scrum happened. So that's in the rain. That just shows the skill levels that our players actually possess
to keep the ball going like that.
So it shows what we can do when our players aren't restricted to like, okay, you need to do this, like you saw Peter Stefatoy from the first time he touched the ball, he didn't just run it up like he did every single time last week. Pass it straight out of the back, you know what I mean? So so it was that was great to watch.
Yeah.
But I agree, it's going to take a while for our players to sink completely into this. But I think that if we allow our players this freedom a bit, it's gonna overall our game is gonna improve so much.
Yeah, I can see a lot of players like just improving with the team as well. Like, I reckon we're gonna see Damien Willemse being one of the best in the world come World Cup time if we keep sticking to this and we keep backing him at 10. It's gonna be interesting when Pollard comes back and Yankees comes back.
But it was when I saw Billy come back into the starting lineup, I knew we were going to play a bit more of a running game because every time Billy's come on this year, we've started to play attacking rugby, and he's orchestrated so much. And then the one place where I think Willemse had a lot of pressure taken off him was because there was a proper second receiver in the team in Billy instead of Cheslin. So Billy, as soon as Damien went into clear rucks, which is an important part sometimes for a 10, especially in our game plan, to secure the ball, Billy was there straight away, and his cross kicks were a pinpoint. Whereas last week Cheslin was either not there, or he got there and gave a shocking cross kick. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think the Billy is definitely our go-to 15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the only thing is his defense. Like, it's the only thing to mention about. But like, it's Billy's going to be a Springbok coach one day. I'm telling you right now. He's going to be a backline coach because of the lines he sees before they even run, and just his vision is crazy. But we're going, just like we've moved on to the individual players now. Seeing Faf play on the weekend, I know you were very happy to see him running around, throwing some shoulder and all that. What did you think of his performance?
I thought he was very good in open play. I thought, and his kicking for the most part was pretty good. It was just there like an exit or two, like the one that went straight out, and then a few of his box kicks that went a bit too far. They're off. But I think that's just game time. Like, he just needs a couple of games to settle now. And I think in open, like people who haven't been watching rugby that long or that have short memories. Just see Faf as this Oku can only kick, and that's his whole thing. But they've completely forgotten that Faf was completely attacking scrum off for the Lions when they went through 3 or 4 seasons where they were in the Super Rugby final and they had the best attack in the league. He was the 9.
Yeah, and Alton took all the praise for being a front foot flower. But meanwhile, like Faf was giving that.
Faf was brilliant, and even dropped into 10 a lot, and he was brilliant there. I think that took a lot of pressure off him, being told, okay, listen, you can play at the pace you want. Because I've seen people that are like, oh, Faf is so slow, and all that. Faf is not slow, bro. Like, the Oak is such a quick scrum off. And if he played for France, people would still be talking about how great he is and all that, because he would be able to play his actual game. He did improve his box kicks brilliantly, and he became probably the best in the world in 2019 at box kicks. But that's not his entire game. His game is like you saw the quick tap he took as well. The passes he was throwing. He can win a game by himself. Like, I've seen it a lot for Cell Sharks, where he comes on, makes such an impact, and just gets the team clicking into another gear. Same with Feli. Like, he clicks out attack into another gear. And that takes a lot of pressure off Willemse as well.
Especially with a young guy like Willemse, like, pressure isn't going to mold him like this early on. Like, more of a chance of breaking him. So like, if you got that, like, not protective, but like that cloud of oaks around him that can also, contribute to his job, make his job a bit easier, especially because he's like very direct and he's often securing walls, securing rucks and making big tackles. So he needs to know there's someone there who can do his job when he's on the floor, because he's on the floor a lot.
So that's exactly it. I think the pressure got to him last week. Like, he was like, he had to hit a ruck, and then he has to get there. Next minute he's trying to kick for the line. And then he kicks it directly out. Whereas this week he gets up from the ruck, but he's there, boom, cross kick. He did it for him. You know what I mean?
But I mean, So then moving on to an interesting position that we've been a lot of debate around recently, but I think Jesse has solidified his place as the second best 13 we have, and definitely the best we have available right now. He's fit back into that old Jesse Curl that we know of, where like he brings that attacking, not flair, but dynamism.
Yeah, he's
and
quick.
He's quick. He can set up an offload or set up a winger to score a try. But defensively he's been on form. I noticed on Saturday he missed a shocking tackle.
Yeah, that cost us a try.
Yeah, that one rush.
Yeah.
So but he's run it it's that 13 channels, the hardest channel to defend in the world. So you can expect a mistake every now and then.
Yeah.
And I don't think it directly led to a try. It was like a few more phases later they scored. But that was the scramble defense. Obviously, made up for his error there.
Yeah.
But we were very worried when got injured. I remember because it was that double blow of Pollard and in 1 week. But Jesse, you saw against Ireland. I mean, he had an amazing.
That was probably one of his best games I've seen him play.
Yeah. I remember I called before the game. Jesse's gonna have a good game.
Yeah.
But then, just as Jesse starts getting back into his rhythm, we see Henku van Wyk. Getting called up to the SAA, and he was one of the better players on the field. At least doing not the minimum, but he was strides ahead of the guys around him in the way that he was still making meters, making big tackles.
Yeah, no, he breaks tackles so easily. It's he's unbelievably physical and stocky, and I think he fits our role perfectly because he's also a defensive 13. That's where he stands out the most.
That switch, and he can go into attack.
Yeah, he's way quicker than he looks as well.
He looks like he runs. It doesn't look like he's quick.
But he's just because he's so solid and stocky.
Yeah.
But I think Jesse had a good game on against Ireland. That was his peak. But I think people forget how good Jesse was for us in the 2015 World Cup and all that. And he was definitely one of our best players in our bad times. Against the All Blacks, he scored some really good individual tries and stuff. The problem is just that came in and Jesse, our coach didn't rotate Jesse in ever. It was only ever when there was an injury or they put him on a wing, and then you expect a player to play at 100% straight away in a position 13, where you need a game or two or three before you can fit back into that role, especially with our defense. That's such a strong rush defense.
But we can't really expect more from Jesse. He's matched well, and every time he's needed to come in, he's done his job. And sometimes he's gone beyond it. And good to see Jesse. But what other players do you reckon are really finding form again after a disappointing rugby championship?
I thought Peter Steff had a good game against Ireland. Against Ireland, he looked like he was putting a lot of pressure on defense, and he wasn't making defensive errors shooting up at the wrong time. And I think, he hasn't quite 100% yet performed, and now we don't know, is he going to be out for a few weeks?
He will be,
probably,
because when you went off on Saturday, you don't often see a rugby player going off for a red card. Completely accidental, he didn't mean it, whatever, yada yada yada. But that was in tears. And I don't think that was from the red card. That's a player who's desperate for a good game, I think. And he feels like he isn't doing enough, and he's scared to lose his spot.
I don't know if it was an individual thing. I think it was more just because the team wanted to beat France that badly. We lost an important game against Ireland, and the coaches said before the tour they won 4 wins out of 4 on this tour, and now we've lost our first game. We lost our SAA game, and and once he went off, he was like, look, it's 12 minutes in now. They're gonna have to play 14 against France. So I think it was more team based that he was in in that stage. Also, that crowd was intense. My emotions would be very high at that stage as well.
That's true.
Yeah, and for you, who's been staying up for you?
I mean, we've spoken about the main guys, but I would just give I think Sia. To me, he's just always showing that consistency in terms of always coming out playing with big heart, putting in big hits, somehow always bouncing always talking about bouncing. So I was at Chis and Colby when he bounced.
It's 2 weeks in a row where the guy that's got him bounced wins man of the match. Josh Van der Veer last week, and then Jalange this week.
Yes. But Sia really he's showing us once again why he's the captain. And it's always weird. We always say this guy's not doing that well at the Sharks.
Yeah.
should he really get the cap? Should he really be started week in week out, and then we just get silenced every time he plays through?
Yeah, no, but he's definitely shown more consistency this year. Like last year he only showed up in the big games really for the Springboks, whereas this year he's shown up like every game, which is really great to see. And I think also at the Sharks we're going to see a turn of it from him and a couple of others as well. But like a lot of our Springboks, they tend to save the best rugby for the Boks. So like whenever overseas team buys a Bok, like you gotta hope they're a player that's like 100% every week, like a Jasper Visa or Kwacha Smith.
Yeah, not like Dwayne Vermeulen and Munster.
No, yes.
Because sipping brandy before games. Yeah. Yeah, so Lucia,
been brilliant again.
Showing his class.
He should be in the World Player of the Year, top 5, 100%. Like.
There's no chance.
It'll probably be like it'll be Itoje and Walkie and
Itoje will get
Michael Hooper will be in there again for some reason.
Who's hosting the next World Cup? You say whoever. Perry Baker.
Perry Baker, 15th player of the year this year.
Insane.
Brilliant. But our props have been great. Marks was a beast again. Coming off the bench, he was absolutely rocking players. Like Oak flying off him. He was looking like
tackles he was making.
Yes, no, it was insane. We've spoken a lot about the main SA game, but there was also another game that most South Africans would like to forget on Thursday. The SAA game against Munster. What stood out for you there?
The Dupree twins there. Yes, we've kind of forgotten about them since they got dropped in 2018. But those Oaks are beasts, and they, I think, definitely should be considered for the World Cup. Or not before the World Cup even. Those guys really, the physical demolition that they showed, and dominance, it was crazy to see. And nice reminder, that they're still out there,
no, they definitely showed also that offloading through the tackle is the way to beat defenses these days. When there's imagine against Ireland, if we just had a guy or two that decided to go through a tackle and offload. That we've seen it so many times. It makes it so easy to break the line, and in the next phase you've got quick ball and the defense isn't set. So I definitely think if we took a few more chances off their offloading and where the line was broken, we could have even come back into that match.
And then so it was the Dupree twins and then Grant Williams as well. I think this guy deserves a spot in that Springbok team. Maybe not at 23, but definitely a call up. Because I think if you compare him to Jaden Hendricks here, very much I think on the same level, to be honest with you. I know Jaden's way more consistent and founded in what the Springboks need, but just the X factor that Grant Williams brings reminds you of a Kobus Reina. He's so quick and he's so sharp. He knows his passes are pinpoint. I'm surprised he hasn't actually been given a proper chance, because this guy is performing really well.
No, he's doing far better than Herschel at this stage. In my opinion.
As soon as Herschel went off, you saw I think the first time he touched the ball, he gained 30 meters. Off that one run.
No, he's unbelievably quick. He makes such an impact.
Definitely a guy for the future.
100%. I definitely think he should be moving into the side. I think Herschel's been very off form since 2020 or 2021. 2020 for the Storms as well. Straight after that World Cup, after his injury, he was just not looking great. And it's stayed that way. He takes way too long to pass, and his kicks haven't been accurate. Whereas Grant Williams is unbelievably quick. His kicks are accurate most of the time.
So normally you can see when a scrum half's got a good link between his fly off and the forward back. Sometimes Herschel has to wait. Who's he passing to, whatever. It's out of box kick, come line up, whatever. Whereas Grant is quick. And then Nohamba also had a go, but he didn't really have much of time to make an impact. But he's been a bit pushed to the side recently just because of how good Grant Williams has been, and Herschel is purely off his reputation. But and then
our coaches don't like to get rid of someone. They give a player all the chances they need, and then eventually, especially if they were good at some point or had some sort of pedigree.
What do you think of Johan Goosen on Saturday? I mean, on Thursday.
Well, he definitely looked a bit sharper than he did for the Bulls
Yeah.
in his first game back. But he put players through the gaps a few times. I think he's definitely warming up, and I think that he's a player that the BOK coaches want in the system, and that they want to take to the World Cup.
Yeah. Also, I was thinking of like you saw his kicking as well. Just off the tee.
Yeah.
Very accurate. Like that was slotting them good. But yeah, like in open gameplay, Goosen is like very suited for that running style that you were chatting about.
Yeah.
And also like you can see, I reckon he's still a bit sore from his injury. Like he's still recovering. Like he's not as quick as he used to be.
Yeah. No, he's not trusting his knee at this stage.
Yeah, but he's still got that like intelligence, positional awareness. Often like after a quick turnover from Munster, he was always that guy. That last line of defense that would rush back, and he would always be the one to get there the quickest. So he's not that slow, but like, you can see, and then to have 2 weeks of training and then to link up with your wingers and your centers like he did, like that was really good. Like to see, was it Fussy put into the gap at the end to score that try?
I can't remember.
Can't remember as well. But yeah, I showed you the video. Like he was putting us through gaps, timing his pass as well, knowing when to give it to the back line, when to give it to the forwards, and communication with Grant Williams especially was. Yeah.
No, he's a very intelligent, like typical like international level 10. Like he knows what he has to do. He doesn't look like some of our flouts sometimes that look like they're not sure what they're supposed to be doing. Like he'll boss the situation.
Yeah.
And then he's got flair, like so much flair.
He can turn up the heat.
Yeah, he can.
And then another guy that I noticed on Thursday was Ruan Nokia. This guy is another guy who's, I think he's so smart when it comes to lineouts, courting balls, but also stealing. Like you saw Munster, their first or second throw, like he stole. And that's just purely of instincts, like very similar to like Evan Elizabeth in the like knowing what the opposition's going to try and do, whatever. He's not the biggest, most physical lock that we have, but I feel like he's definitely going to get caught up or get a chance soon at least. Because he's showing week in, week out that he's consistent, knows where to be, knows how to do what he needs to do. Compared to someone like Simon Murat, who's more a bit like all over the place sometimes. Like he does his job well sometimes, but doesn't have that consistency that someone like Lewitt brings to the fore. And you mentioned Jason Jenkins as well, who got a chance. He had a decent game. Like can't blame him too much on, because I mean the side was very like there wasn't a lot of links. The connection wasn't that good. The cohesion wasn't great. So you can't tune them too much about the gameplay. I reckon against Bristol Bears it'll be massive.
I think we're going to see a good performance this week.
So Ruan Nortje, I think, is definitely one to watch for the future. And he's quite a young though. He's like 24, 23.
That's what gives me hope for him, is that he's still got time to put on some mass and all that. And then a guy like Franco, that he reminds me, his frame similar to Franco Munster. He's not like Lewitt and Evan that are very like heavy. But I think Ruan Nortje can still pick up size, but they're gonna have to give him some time off from running a bit and actually like get him to eat and because like he says he's been like trying to bulk and all that, but the problem is when you're like running that much and that's one of his best assets is his fitness.
He can play a whole game.
He's very fit, he's quick, but he's more like your new age locks that you see in Europe, like that Waki and Itoje. He's a bit smaller than Itoje, but but I think he does definitely have potential.
Absolutely. Sasha, one guy we've noted for the coming game. Finally, so he's going to get his chance now. Is he still 19 then? Is he 20 now?
I'm not sure. I think
either way, he's a youngster. So he's getting his chance on Thursday. Whether it be at 15 or 10, I'm not sure, but I hope to see Goosen at 10 and not Sasha. But
might even choose him at 12.
That's true. Sasha, he's very versatile in where he can play. Which is what Springbok coaches love. So I'm really very excited to see what this guy can do. Just with playing with high level players, and like I want to see what he tries to do and what like going away from the traditional Springbok bash it up. Like,
Yeah.
I want to see what he tries to do. And
Yeah, I want to see more. I think I have a feeling they'll probably put him at 10 and put Goosen at 15, which I don't really want to see. Because Goosen isn't the best 15 in the world, and that's not where I see him for the box. But I think still that the team will have a bit more cohesion this week, and then you'll see Sasha playing a bit more running rugby as well with the team. But yeah, it was also stopping there at Munster on Thursday, which didn't help.
Yeah, the wind was howling.
Yeah.
But Goosen was slotting his kicks. So
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. But anyway, so predictions for this week: Italy for the main game.
If we play our very best side, we'll win by 30. But I think if we do what I expect us to do and give us chances like Lebok at 10, like I don't know. I don't think we'll call up any SAA Oaks, but I think Evan Roos will get a go.
Yeah, I have a feeling they're going to choose Evan at 8.
Yeah, I think Marvin Ori might get a start. Who knows? But I reckon if they do that, I think Springboks by 12.
Okay, no, I think even with rotations, we'll be able to win by about 20 in my opinion. Yeah, I think as good as Italy have been this year, I think there's a class difference between the top 4 sides in the world currently and Italy, and those like Australia is a team that can lose to anyone any week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas like France, New Zealand, Ireland, South Africa, we are a class above currently, and I know Australia's A team pushed France very close, but also last year France nearly lost their first game and then they put 40 points on New Zealand. So like that takes them a game to warm up sometimes, and they're sharp for the big games.
Yeah.
And
to lose to Scotland.
And it's not like we're going into this game with 2 wins. We're going into it like angry and with our backs against the wall still. So I think we'll probably put like 20 points minimum past them, like above them.
Yeah, it's obviously some running rugby.
Yeah,
Some
no, I definitely think we will.
tries.
Yeah, we'll finally have a dry game as well. Actually,
it's a pity guys like Ken and Moody are injured, because this is awesome, like perfect opportunity to get some experience.
Yeah, definitely.
And I like that Italian side's good, eh?
Yeah.
Like you saw them, they beat Australia. Like they've got a lot of flair, a lot of like passion. They've got no passion.
Yeah.
But I think when it comes to the Springboks,
yeah, I think we'll snuff them out though. That's the thing. We're gonna destroy them in the scrums and the walls, and
they probably partied a bit hard this week.
Yeah, as well. Also,
like Argentina.
Those guys can't win again a big game and then play it well the next week.
Yeah.
Like it's impossible. And yeah, you can talk about the team played well, like Wales played well or New Zealand played well when they thrashed them the second time. But you know those Oaks are probably like on the piss this week.
Sweating out the
Yeah.
alcohol. Yeah. Right. Okay.
Anyways.